Well, here we are at the corner of Chester and Fitzgerald. This is the old Crichton Cobbers and Pomeroy's pub, as far as I know. Friday morning, about 11:30, quite a bit of traffic on the road, a surprising amount actually. Right, I just moved about 5 metres north, get a view of this alleyway here. Note use of the manual focus to avoid hunting focus as the cars going past. Some other civil defence looking vehicles there going past. Okay, they've gone. No more to see there. Another shot of the alleyway there. We're going to come along and get some of this traffic. And here we are about 4 p.m. corner of Worcester and Stanmore. This is the old Hibbard's Butchery. I'm sorry, this is the new Hibbard's Butchery. They relocated over September. We'll just try using the power zoom, just slowly coming on the shop here. A lot of wind today, so probably a fair bit of wind noise in the microphone. Car coming up. Using the autofocus on this occasion. Zoom can be a bit touchy and all of a sudden goes fast. That's what I said. Now in this small row of shops there is the Talon Arms shop, which is more or less undamaged, and then just to the right of that, just panning around to the right of that, was the Wicks Fish. Unfortunately, one of the shopkeepers and the customer died in that shop. And further down was, I believe, a second-hand shop and the chemist on the corner, the chemist quarter corner. There's not much traffic on it. Most of the shops obviously closed. There are only limited opportunities where I can stand for filming. I will come around and you can see the shops and the hotel on this side are all fenced in as well. I don't know exactly what, but you can see from walking past the front windows glass windows fall down. See what structural problems they have. Change positions about 40 metres eastwards of where I was. Again, it's one of the few places you can safely stand to film. And the lighting is not good because that side of the shop's effectively backlit at this time of day. Zooming in on the chemist on the corner there. Conveniently on some vehicles for sound effects. There we go. Very touchy, the power zoom on this camera. Again, the morning light that it's from these buildings, about 50 back here. Let's try to zoom in a little bit. Okay, I've just moved about 50 metres north up Stanmore Road. That's to the centre of the screen there would be the edge of the chemist shop and the cafe on the corner. I've also changed the location of the microphone because I discovered it could rotate 180 degrees. Now as we come round to here, if I zoom in a little bit, trying not to bump the microphone as I'm zooming in. Now the upstairs of this building, as you can see where it's breached, the right hand side should be far clearer than the left hand side, simply because the light is getting in there a bit more. I did actually leave home about 4.5 hours ago to start my filming, 5 hours ago, but I got a call from a neighbour whose car had broken down and required a bit of a rescue. So that's why I'm out in the afternoon sun now. I'll just back that out a bit. Using the autofocus just at the moment. Might cause a problem as cars go past. I'm standing in the Super Value car park. It's closed at the moment because of minor damage from the earthquake. Okay, I've just crossed the road and gone about 20-30 metres further north. That's the Super Value there. I was at the right of screen, my previous location. Yes, the tripod is looking crooked at the moment with relation to the store, the supermarket, but I'll pan around and show you where the vegetable shop isn't. So that used to be the vegetable shop. Drove past here a few days ago and the excavators were here demolishing it. I believe the building was called the Argonaut. I think it was an old cinema, and there were a number of shops there. It's curious to note that the horizontal and vertical elements are about correct there, whereas they start to go crooked when you pan. That's the first fish and chip shop. There is of course the post office and the second fish and chip shop. Just what everyone needs, which is still functioning. So there's a lovely old building that is no more. Okay, just a handheld shot here. Just as I was walking, I noticed this virtually undamaged house of framed construction, and their entire small front yard is full of stacked bricks that look to have already been cleaned and sorted, and a small pile there of broken bricks. And I'm guessing they're salvaging the bricks for some kind of project. I think Christchurch, there will be not much demand for bricks in the future, and there's certainly plenty of second-hand bricks for those people that want them. So, a great many bricks there for some project. Okay, here we are in Gloucester Street, outside the Te Rangi Marae Centre, which I think is a combination church and Maori community centre. That's mostly obscured by the trees there. I did set my vertical line on the ball and cup by the lamppost there, assuming the lamppost is straight, which in Christchurch at this day and age isn't always the case. Now if I pan to the right, you'll notice the vertical elements are now wrong, so I will just stop and I'll straighten up for that. Okay, now what you're looking at here is obviously a large part of the iron roof of a house, which has come part of it down almost to ground level, well, right to ground level. There does seem to be a structure behind still in good condition. We'll see if we can zoom in a little bit on that one. The power zoom is very fiddly with this camera. All of a sudden it goes away on you very quickly. So it does appear that the building behind, or at least that part of the house that was behind, is still standing. Okay, I've moved down Gloucester Street about 30 metres west, just in time for a car. And I reset the ball and cup again. Just to the edge there is that fallen piece of roof section. And there's a bit more of the house, which has obviously had a major collapse. It is somewhat difficult setting the ball and cup when there's not so many reliable horizontal or vertical elements. And in Christchurch nowadays, many power poles are leaning over. Often the curbing is not straight because of the earthquake. We'll try very gently to use a power zoom. There's no manual zoom on this particular model of camera. You have to use a power zoom. It does have the option of a manual focus. Part of the zoom is done digitally too, I understand, and I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not sure at what point it goes from optical zoom to a digital zoom. Obviously part of the double brick wall there. Good in England, not so good in New Zealand. And back out again. Okay, it's now about 5:30. This is Worcester Street. We're on the north side looking south. This is actually just outside my house, my flat. Looking across at that two-storey house opposite, which is partly wood, partly brick construction. As you can see, the wood construction seems to be reasonably alright, and the brick construction is mostly on the ground. And I don't know about you, but this house would cost an awful lot to heat in winter time. I actually saw someone up in there a few days after the earthquake salvaging some stuff, and a policeman came along and said, "Get down out of there." Okay, now this is next door to my place. This is actually part of the remains of the two-storey house that fell down into my back garden and demolished most of it. If I pan a bit to the left there, the single-storey, what you're seeing there is the edge of my neighbour's flat and my flat. So I should be able to zoom in. I'm afraid there is a locked gate here that I'm having to shoot through, which is the big bar you can see in the foreground, which hopefully the autofocus will not concentrate on. So what we're seeing there is the edge of my neighbour's place and part of my place. The fence that used to be between us got demolished as half the house next door fell down on top of it. And that's rubble is the half of the house next door. Brick wall all down one side. That upper story room was actually not quite so wrecked and had more roofing material half fallen into it. We will zoom up into that. A little bit backlit, this angle at this time of day, as we are looking northwards. And I actually helped a couple of the young people get their passports and laptops and that out of this room. It was made a bit more wrecked when the search and rescue guys came in and did an extra search. Although they did know that everyone in the house was out, but they just had to do it. Now this is looking again at that house that had the, across the road, that had the wall out of it in the first shot. If I pan to the left, you'll see the house next to it, which is completely wooden, seems to be perfect. The only damage was a fallen chimney, which is not visible in this view.
The big memorial.
Okay, well, to add confusion to the mix, that's my current landlady, because my apartment is red stickered, so I actually live with a neighbour. Before I was so rudely interrupted by all of those pedestrians and then my neighbour going. And yes, the engine in the car is, shall we say, problematic. Now just focusing in, you can actually see where the whole side walls come out of that house. I'll just back out a little bit more. A little bit wide. Again, the angle of the sun is not good at this time of day. It's effectively backlit. this would have been a much better shot in the morning, but you can actually still see right inside the house where the double brick wall just fell completely away. 2 stories height worth of it. Very touchy, the wide and telephoto power zoom control on this camera. Now, although this isn't backlit, the problem is that if I pan just to the right there, that large block of flats is blocking the sun, which would otherwise be shining right inside. It's only a single-storey building, this one, but the the brick wall, double brick wall, did completely fall away. Including partly onto a couple of cars. This is the house that was attached to the hairdressers. It is now actually a Korean and Japanese restaurant. Except at the moment it's nothing because it's red stickered. And again, another example of a Christchurch house that will be impossible to heat this coming winter. And yet in the first earthquake, all of this building suffered was a tiny bit of damage to a firewall. At the left edge of that shop, at the left of screen. And in the February quake, the firewall suffered more damage and the entire sidewall of the house fell out. Okay, well, I'm on the stairs that lead to a neighbour's flat, which is an upstairs flat of a mostly single-storey block of flats. And this is another view of the house right next door, which has partly collapsed, largely into the backyard of my flat and the one that adjoins me. Just try to zoom in a little bit. The landing here is about as big as a tripod, so okay, well, that's a very interesting picture of rubble. I think everyone that lives in Christchurch knows what rubble looks like nowadays. I used to have quite an orchard of trees and large plastic tubs up to about 4 metres high all along that wall, which is, well, the rubble's from the upstairs part of the wall. I'll go wide angle a bit more. So the bottom story of the brick wall is still partly there. The upper story is completely gone. Okay, this is a handheld shot standing at my back door. That's the upstairs of the house, next door. All of that outer part of the wall is gone, which is why you can see the red brick behind. It was a double brick wall without framing. This house next door functioned as a backpackers, and there was a second bathroom, which, as you see, lacks privacy now that both parts of the wall have fallen down. And there's the bathroom wall. These remnants of sticks are what remains of my washing line.
Light flashing, red light flashing. Oh, did I just hit record?
Okay, it's 6:30 p.m. Monday 21 March. We're standing by the Pack and Save car park. I believe this is the back edge of the Smith City Market car park. We're on the footpath of Morehouse Ave looking northwards. As you can see, there's I'm not using the tripod because I need to be going up above that fence anyway. There's actually, you can see some cars still up on that car park. Unfortunately, they're no longer demolishing it. They'll come, workers have gone home. They'll come back tomorrow morning, I guess, after I'm gone. And there'll be some cars there demolished as well as the building itself. Looks like that car suffered a bit of damage anyway. I think there's nothing else to see here.